When you talk to some of your fellow academics about this, how do they feel?
They feel I'm insane.
Pretty
Yeah,
much.
It's an anathema to them. For most of them, because most of them don't believe in an afterlife. They don't believe they think of religion in the way that science has traditionally as an opiate.
And yet you studied ancient history and you've taught ancient history,
Yeah.
and you know about ancient history, and certainly in some traditional cultures, the dead and the alive are still together.
Entirely different. In ancient Mesopotamia, which is my field, the proximity was unbelievable. You know, they had shrines in the homes, they buried people within the home. And we understand that as academics, as quaint and superstitious and artifact. So we look at it as an anthropological phenomenon, but not as a reality.
Right. I was talking to a friend, and when her husband died, he was a great fisherman. And she said at the outside service, they all looked up in the sky, and there was a cloud, a pink cloud in the shape of a salmon. And they assumed that must be him. Is that a silly thing? Is that a real thing? An eagle flies over after someone dies and you assume that someone has sent the eagle. Is there a connection between human and animals or clouds?
Yeah, there is. There is. These kinds of signs are quite frequent. Actually, the most common is a butterfly. People report this butterfly fluttering in after the death of someone, and it seems to bring a great deal of comfort to people. It seems to occur mostly with smaller animals. What that actually is, I'm not so sure. And certainly, it's the dead are able to do unbelievable things to get our attention. You know, just unbelievable things. Turn on cars, or turn on your electric mixer, or all your electrical appliances in the house at once. Knock pictures off of themselves onto the floor, or have them glowing, or whatever it is.
Turn lights on?
Yeah, oh yeah, very common. Yeah, very common. So, especially seems to occur with electrical and electronic appliances.
Right. A skeptic would say, we've got a short, Doris. There's a short in the electrical wiring.
Right, unless it's the whole house.
Oh, that.
And outside too.
When you communicate with someone who has died, drowned, for instance, what do you learn?
Oh, for each person it's different. But let's take drowning. The experience of drowning, what was happening before the person fell into the pool in this case, the absolute euphoria and excitement of what was happening, the attempts to contact someone about their deaths because no one knew, the person had drowned. And then I often get information about what happened directly afterwards. I like to find out more when they're deeper in, but the first few moments or the first hour or so from our perspective of time is it's fascinating to hear them and the excitement that they have. Confusion too.
From drowning?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, from any kind of death.
Any kind of death?
Almost every time. Almost every time. It's this. They just can't believe what's happening to them, and they want to tell you.
So are you telling me it's better on the other side? It's more beautiful, it's nirvana, it's not...
It is for most of us, sure, absolutely for most of us. You have this incredible sense of mobility. That's the first thing that I pick up from people. This mobility is tremendously deep sense of security, surrounded by a kind of luminosity that knows you, and that loves you, and that has compassion for you. Forgiveness is the #1 law. And when you're in that kind of ambience, and you know you're staying in that kind of ambience, you also realize that your self-fulfillment, your creativity has no end, that you just keep going on and on. No part of the personality dies.
I see the universe is conspiring on our behalf. Is there a physical body, an essence, an energy? Do you know? I know you're still here, so, but you've talked to so many on the other side.
What's the question again?
Is there a physical body when you die?
You can create one. You can recreate anything you want. It's all thought form. What we are in terms of physical bodies is hardly there at all. If I reduced or took out all of the space in all of your atoms, you, as great as you are, would still only be a small microscopic dot. So that's the difference between us and the dead, this microscopic dot. We are basically thought forms too. And they know that they're thought forms, so they can create bodies when they want to, when it serves them, especially to visit us.
I see. When someone dies who I've known and loved, who has not seen me naked, I often wonder if somebody on the other side can see you in the buff.
Yep.
Really?
But there are ethics. And
I hope so.
But this is a question I get a lot, but only from women, by the way.
I'm sure, because, you know,
Yeah, they can.
we're not 25
They
anymore.
can. But sometimes it depends on their depth of vision, what they see. When they're really, really in deep vision, they'll see you as an electrical being, not as a body.
What is our fear of death really based on, do you think? Most of us fear death.
Yeah.
And we don't like to talk about it. Even when we're dying, it's difficult to talk about it. Some people have such great egos, they can't imagine the world without them and
That's
hang
right.
on forever.
That's right. It has a lot to do with our attachment to the ego. I mean, the ego that believes only in physical reality, what can be perceived by the senses. It has a lot to do with that. It also comes from religion. Death was a punishment in the story of creation. And when you die, in the Old Testament version, you do not reunite with the divine.
Right, and there is a God judging you and watching
That's right.
you, and sometimes you
right.
have to go to the waiting lounge, to the
Right.
purgatory, because you haven't performed correctly.
Eternal suffering.
Eternal suffering,
Yeah.
hell.
But there's also the secular side conspires in all of this too, because we are exploited constantly by our fear of death. The medical industry does it, the war industry does it, pharmaceuticals, insurance, the way we teach history supports the fear of death all the time. It's all about wars, it's all about an unsafe universe. It's our body as a time bomb in terms of medicine. The health and beauty industry, anti-aging industries, and worse, the news and entertainment. There's a steady feed of the most gruesome deaths, absolutely steady feed of it. If any one of us had the sort of fantasies that you get dished up on you in your local television show at night,
Yes.
you know, murder mystery show, you'd be considered psychopathic.
I know you've talked to the other side, people who've been murdered,
Yeah,
people who committed suicide.
yeah. They can often be very, very vibrant.
A conscious death decision
Yeah.
is terrifying and interesting at the same time. We'll be back with active professional psychic, medium, professor, and researcher Dr. Julia Assante, who studies and communicates with the dead.